Good morning, everyone. Let's get started. This is Parshat Lech Lecha. We've been talking about it a little bit this week. It is a very beautiful parsha, not only because it was my bar mitzvah, but also because it is the beginning of our journey as Jews, as a Jewish community in the world. This is where we trace our roots. Obviously, we have a common ancestor with the Abrahamic faiths. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism trace ourselves back to Avraham, whose name was Avram at the very beginning of the story. But what we don't know, we talked about this yesterday just a little bit, is who was Avram and why was he chosen? Happens to be that was the message of my bar mitzvah drash a bunch of years ago. And so let me ask the question again and refer to a second midrash, one of my favorites. Yesterday we talked about the midrash, the rabbinic imaginative exploration of the idea of Avram, which is another way of saying commentary, where Avram is described as a bottle of perfume with a cork still on before God's call. When God called, the cork lifted off and Avram's unique scent wafted into the world. It's a way of saying that all of us contain potential way beyond what we sometimes understand. And when we are stirred by the divine, and sometimes that is a gentle calling, and sometimes it's less so, something that has been waiting within, a latent beauty, is called into the world. You might not be comfortable with the notion of a calling because it suggests that there is a caller, an intervening personal God. But it could also be the case, looking outside my window right now, that the beauty of autumn and the changing colors calls me into the world to reflect on mortality. The call can come from a voice, the call can come from a tree, the call can come from sweet human beings knocking on our doors saying trick or treat, which is not a Jewish ritual, but it is an experience of neighborhood, perhaps the last communal experience that is pretty widespread in the United States. So even though there are members of the Jewish community who do not trick or treat, I did not as a child, and there are members of the community who do, it is important to understand that these interactions, be they with nature, be they with the divine, be they with another human being, they are all invitations, they are all calls. What is this new midrash I wanted to share? It comes from Breshit Rabbah, about 2,000 years old, one of the first strata of rabbinic midrash. This is from Breshit Rabbah 39. I'm just going to read a little bit of it here, because we know that Avram is called, but we don't know why. So I'll read a little bit in the Hebrew so you can get a flavor for the feel. Rabbi Yitzchak patach, Shim'i vat uri'i, v'hati oznech v'shichichi amech Uveit Avich. Rabbi Yitzchak opened, quoting from the book of Psalms, "Listen, daughter, look, incline your ear, forget your people and your father's home." Similar to the Lech Lecha call, when Avram is called by God, God says, "Lech Lecha me'artzecha mimoladetecha," leave your land, your native land, mibeit avicha, el ha'aretz asher areka, and your father's ancestral home, to the land that I will show you. So what can it be compared to? Rabbi Yitzchak said, this can be compared to a person who is traveling from place to place when he saw in Hebrew, Bira achat doleket. And this can be translated in two ways at least. Bira doleket, Bira is a castle. Doleket can mean a flame or it can mean a glow. Avram was walking along the way in this parable and saw a castle that was aglow or aflame and stopped and said, is it possible that this castle lacks a person to look after it? Tomar shabira zo belo manhig. Immediately after asking the question, the owner of the building looked out at the passerby and said, I am the master of the castle. What does this midrash suggest? Similar actually to the way the Torah describes Moses at the burning bush. You might know this. The text actually says, Moses passed by and craned his neck back and noticed the burning bush, which is another way of suggesting that the burning bush was always there, but Moshe was the kind of person who stopped and looked. So too does this midrash suggest that Avram noticed something about the world and asked a question, and with that question developed what we now call Judaism. It's another way of saying that stoked within the Jewish heart, or at least within a consciousness that the Jewish community means to share with the world, is curiosity and concern. If what Avram saw was a castle that was illuminated, it's like looking at this beautiful tree and saying, oh, the world is so beautiful, how can that be an accident? What Abraham Joshua Heschel called radical amazement. Just stop. It takes your breath away, this leaf, this child in a cute costume, this God who I sense sometimes. If what Avram noticed, on the other hand, is that the castle was on fire, oy, this world, oy, this environment that we have degraded, the very soil, oy, the pain and inequality that the pandemic only made worse, oy, how people treat each other when there's an election. If that's what called Avram's attention, then his response was, isn't there anyone in charge? Think about God's response in either situation. The first one is Avram notices the world is so beautiful and says, God, there must be a God, the world is so artful. And the other way is, oh God, where are you? We need you. This can't be. And in response, God says, Lech Lecha, go. So if Avram noticed the beauty of the world and God said, go, be part of it, don't miss it. And if Avram said, oh, this world is burning, God said, so go. I sent you. You're here. You noticed. Do something. Both of those, I think, are true. They're different facets of our world, because our world is incredibly fragile, and our world is incredibly beautiful. It's all true, friends. Let me make a suggestion for us to investigate, for us to be curious about. In what way, friends, are you called? In what way do you notice something about this world? Do you notice the beauty? If all you see is the beauty, figure out some place that you can make a difference and help another part of the world be a little bit more beautiful. And if all you notice is the tragedy, friends, notice the trees. Notice the sweet human beings. Notice the art. Notice the color of the sky. Notice each other. Both facets of the call are always true. The world is beautiful and the world needs you. We are called to be part of a great healing. And these days it is clear where some of that healing is, but the truth is there have always been these incredible needs. There's always, unfortunately, been inequality. We show up. It's what we're called to do. There's always been beauty. We are called to notice it and to thank God for the world itself. There's a song that I sing often, haven't sung in a while, in our community, a song I wrote a long time ago, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. The world is built on love, and we must build the world on love. Both are true. So I want to bless you today, friends, to be curious about the world, to notice the world, to notice the beauty, to notice the need, and to keep going. Lech Lecha. Keep going. Let's have a good day, friends. Let's go into it together. a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow.